Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Yesterday, November 8th, 2025, was the kill date for the month of November. And it was relatively quiet so far for a kill date. If you look through the Wikipedia page that keeps track of celebrity deaths, there's a number of suspicious deaths on there, from entertainers to athletes to politicians. There was a shooting yesterday in South Carolina. There typically is on Saturdays, though. But one athlete's death stood out above the pack, and this is the former number one overall pick of the NHL, who also had a long career with the NHL, becoming an executive for the Ottawa Senators. He was the number one pick in 1975 by the Philadelphia Flyers, and the date he was announced dead is very specific to Philadelphia. We call Philadelphia the 118 city. That's why they were in the 118th World Series. We hit that with, what was their preseason odds to win the pennant? I think they were 25 to 1 to win the pennant that year, just a few years ago. But yeah, again, this gematria thing, it allows you to see how the game is rigged. So we'll talk a little bit about his death, why it seems to have a lot to do with this current NBA season. 1980 was a big year for Philadelphia. They went to the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals. And did they go to the World Series in 80 as well? Might have to check that out. But yeah, again, this knowledge, it allows you to see through these kind of things, and also allows you to do things like what we did yesterday in the NHL. Yesterday, there were 13 games in the NHL. If it wasn't for the damn Anaheim Ducks, we would have went 13-0. We went 12-1 yesterday in NHL picks out of 13 games. Again, most people would never be able to do that in their entire life. And we've already done it a few times this season, and the season just got underway. So let's go over the Mel Bridgman death at 70, which isn't all that old, and consider these are pretty wealthy people, so they should have access to the best doctors, the best medicine. But yeah, what we see month after month. First of all, if you're new here, what makes the kill date the kill date? It's been an eventful date in the months it came across this year, like it is in most years. Some of the biggest headlines this year have fallen on the kill date. Wasn't the case for yesterday, but the Charlie Kirk thing, that was on the kill date for September. Israel attacking Iran, that was on the kill date, et cetera, et cetera. But what makes the kill date are the numerology paths. Yesterday was November 8th, 2025. So there's different ways to add up that date, but the three different paths equate to 64, 44, and 28, like the word kill in gematria. For example, November 8th, 2025, 11 plus 8 plus 20 plus 25 is 64. The abbreviated path is just 11-8-25. November 8th, 25, like a lot of people would write it. 11 plus 8 plus 25 is 44. And then there's also the life lesson number method, where you add the day and the month whole. So 11 plus 8, that's 19. And then you add the year digit by digit. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, 28. So again, next month it'll be Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th. And like I said, when the Charlie Kirk thing happened, I expect that day to be interesting, because that'll be 88 days after Charlie Kirk's death. And remember, Turning Point USA 88 and Trump 88. And the Charlie Kirk thing was 88 days after Trump's birthday. But anyway, this man, Mel Bridgman, his name is also 64. And that goes with Charlie Kirk, too. His birth name, Charles James Kirk, also 64. Also 107, like shooting. So, and 44, like shooting. But anyway, you see this month after month, these celebrity deaths, and their numbers match up with the kill date. Keep in mind, he was born on April 28th, the 118th day of the year. Born on the 118th day of the year, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 118. Again, Philly appeared in the 118th World Series. They lost to Houston on the anniversary of the Astro World tragedy. But Philadelphia has that double connection to 118. Philadelphia, PA is 118. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania was 118. The other 118 city is Los Angeles. And if you've read my book, Number Games, I talk about where Kobe fits in, who went from Philly to LA. And Kobe put out that Wizard series where he encoded the 118 a ton of times. Keep in mind, 118 is also a number connected to death. But notice this thing about his career. He won the Stanley Cup with Philadelphia in 76. Philadelphia's 76ers, right? We associate that number with that city, the country born in Philadelphia in 1776 and 1980. So 76 and 80. And the NBA Finals that year in 1980 was Lakers in Philadelphia. And I got to check it out. Were they in the 1980 World Series? I want to say they were too. Yeah, Philadelphia, Kansas City for the 1980 World Series. So 80 was a huge year for Philadelphia, right? And something we've been looking at is this is the 80th NBA season right now. Remember last year was the 79th season and Oklahoma City won it, and they used to be the Sonics who won the championship in 79. So this NBA season began October 21st, 2025, which was a date with 76 numerology. And it was also Netanyahu's 76th birthday, and that matters because he graduated from high school in Philadelphia in 67, the year that the championship was the Philadelphia 76ers and I think they were the San Francisco Warriors at that point. But don't forget, the Warriors started in Philadelphia. So we've been tracking this Philly thing. And I know Philly won their game yesterday. Nick Nurse beat his old team. It's interesting they won with 130 yesterday. It is because Human Sacrifice has that gematria of 130. Remember, it's the 80th season. So, and Nick Nurse, who's the coach of Philly, used to coach the Raptors, who they beat. But notice that the name Mel Bridgman also equates to 98, like Melvin John Bridgman, his full name, like National Basketball Association. And don't forget the face of the league. He's got a Chosen One tattooed on his back. Chosen One is 98. Chosen alone is 98 because technically he just has the word chosen with the number 1 written out. But that's not an accident. That's a branding. So yeah, that this looks like business as usual. And as we know, these sports leagues are full of ritual sacrifice. It happens all the time if you pay attention, young and old. We just talked about what they did with the reliever for the Dodgers' daughter, amongst several other deaths for the World Series, where before it began, we had circled why the Dodgers should be winning another World Series and why there should be a lot of celebrity deaths because it's the same thing year after year. Somehow nobody blinks an eye. But yeah, Mel Bridgman, 70. People probably won't question it. A lot of people do die around 70. But again, how perfect. We know in this community that 118 is highly associated with Philadelphia. This was the number 1 overall pick at the time by the Philadelphia Flyers. And by the way, Flyers fans, the Flyers like 85 and 31 a lot. They've smashed those numbers every time they've come up this year. Just the other day, they became 8-5, winning the game 3-1. So just a little tidbit for all the Flyers fans out there. Pay attention to those numbers, and you'll start to see how the games are rigged for your team. But, yeah, just going through the NHL games yesterday. What I preach in the NHL is if a dog has a good narrative, take them with the goals. It comes through at a very high percentage. So yesterday there were 13 games in the NHL. The Penguins were the underdog. They were plus 165 money line, but if you took them with the goals, that means they can lose by 1. Penguins lose by 1, so they win. Senators did beat the Flyers yesterday. Flyers for another game stayed on 8-5 because they got an OT loss. Flyers were the underdog. Flyers with the goals was the call. Flyers cover with the goals. Stars versus Predators. There were more numbers here for the Stars to get it done. The points, the team gematria. Stars roll over the Predators 5-4. Bruins play the Maple Leafs back-to-back, and like the note said, if the Bruins win both games against the Maple Leafs, they're going to end up 11-7. Remember, Toronto equals 117. We just talked a lot about this with the World Series with the Dodgers, where Gossman got his 117th career loss on the 117th day at Canada's age. And the Maple Leafs have one game in between. The Bruins play the Maple Leafs back-to-back, but the Maple Leafs are going to play Carolina, and then they'll play the Bruins again. Carolina like 73 a lot. Maple Leafs did fall to 7-3 and 1 at home before Carolina. Carolina equals 73. Canadians beat the Mammoth yesterday. Saw that the Canadians could pick up the 22nd points. Utah 22. Just more narrative for the Canadians to win. Good value there. It was almost a pick'em game. Lightning and the Capitals. Lightning looked like they had a chance to lose. Capitals could be taken with the points for that reason. Capitals lost by 1, meaning they covered the spread. Islanders and Rangers looked like the game of the day because the Islanders had some nice plus money and a really strong narrative to win because you see how New York Rangers is 76 and New York Islanders is 77. And like I said yesterday, 76 just hit yesterday at the Rangers. We were very certain the 76 was going to hit the day before, and it did. But 2 strong numbers for both teams if the upset happened. Sure enough, Islanders 7-6, Rangers 7-7. They're the underdog on the road, and they smoke them 5-0. Hurricanes and Sabres. Sabres, if they lost, we're going to have a record that made sense for the next opponent. A lot of times that's the way it is. That's the top scenario there. Kraken and the Blues. Kraken gave me a heart attack yesterday because they were down a lot early, but they came back and won it. And we always talk about how the Kraken wins so many of their games 4-3 because Seattle Kraken's 43, Mariners is 43, Seattle Seahawks is 43. Remember, they won their only Super Bowl with 43 points. Russell Wilson with the 206 passing yards for the 206 area code. Poseidon equals 43 as well. Poseidon's associated with the sea, Seattle, the city on the sea. But anyway, Kraken did get it done yesterday. And yeah, they look like they should have. They were also plus money yesterday. Could have taken them with the goals. The Avalanche and the Oilers. I only saw a narrative for the Avalanche to win here. I couldn't find one thing for the poor Oilers. They got crushed. The Avalanche won 9-1. Canucks and Blue Jackets. This was another dog with the goal situation. Blue Jackets, the underdog. Take them with the goals. They lose by 1, which means they win and cover the bet. The damn Ducks. I'm going to have to put Golden Knights on the shit list right now. They actually gave me a headache this past week. I'm a little bit surprised the Knights didn't win that game. That was the one we got wrong. But Sharks, also big payout last night. Plus 200. And great narrative to win. So, Sharks money line was a big payout. If you took them with the goals, they definitely won. Strong narrative to win. Got it done. That's called 12-1 in the NHL. And that's why that troll who makes videos about me, very dishonest person. He sits here and screen records everything we do. And then every week or few weeks, he'll put out a video of things we got wrong in a collage. It's called a loser. I saw one of his latest thumbnails. YouTube always likes to put his stuff in my feed. You got to be so dumb to support Zach, or just sound like that's like, buddy, in the last 7 days that you're recapping, we had winning days at least 6 of the 7 days, and you could have argued all 7. If you took my advice on the NFL last week, I was real big on the McCaffrey 2 touchdowns, which was a nice payout, and the Vikings upsetting the Lions with Tom Brady, the Michigan product, calling the game, just like J.J. McCarthy went to Michigan, which was a huge payout. Again, those were the things I was most emphatic about last week. They both hit, both big payouts. There was a lot that was wrong with the NFL last week, but the 2 things most emphatic about, they were both big winners. And that's pretty much how it is every week with the NFL. The things that I like the most, they're coming in week after week. If you watch my troll, though, he'll never tell you about all these days we've had. I mean, we've had so many days like this already in the NHL, just like this. 11 games on the slate. We had an 11-0 day. 12 games on the slate. We're not always 12-1 like we were yesterday, but it's usually a pretty high percentage winning day every day. And yesterday in the NBA was pretty good too. It wasn't perfect in the NBA, but plenty of value there. Another nice day. A lot of nice calls in college football yesterday. Plus my community is great. Great callers like Julius phoned in yesterday with why UConn was going to upset Duke. And I totally agreed with him once I looked at it. I said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Huge upset with UConn over Duke. So, yeah, for the troll out there, the reason he never calls in or tries to debate is because he's a loser. Again, when you guys are persuaded by content like that, you're listening to a loser who literally lives in his mom's basement, who just sits here and screen records all day and just tries to clip what's bad while cutting out everything that's great. The first rough week we had in the NFL was the first week that Jonathan Taylor had 3 rushing touchdowns at 30-1 odds. I was huge on the Jonathan Taylor 3 touchdown thing. I know he made a video that week about what was wrong with that week, but he cut out the Jonathan Taylor emphasis on why that was a good play for him to score 3 touchdowns that week at 30-1. Imagine leaving that out and then trying to persuade an audience like, see how bad it was? Not when you hit on 30-1, buddy. Troll. So, and think about it, you guys, the fact that I've had a dedicated troll that sat here for over a decade now, just screen recording, trying to make me look bad while YouTube suppresses the content, make sure it's shadow banned. Think about how many different entities are working to make sure people don't know about this information or they think it's bullshit. When day after day, week after week, we do things that people have never done in their lifetimes. How many correct scores do I have with NHL games this year? That's another topic we can get into. Probably more than most people have had in a lifetime. So anyway, congrats to the winners. We'll be back for the NFL live stream in about an hour and a half. And of course, we'll be talking about the NBA and NHL as well. And yeah, 12-1. Let me know when you do better. Till next time.